Nicole Lyons grew up in Sylmar, where her father was a mechanic who restored muscle cars, and she knew at a very young age that she had a need for speed.
You're still a girly girl, but yet you like things like going fast and high-performance race cars.
Nicole Lyons drives fast for a living, hitting speeds of nearly 250 miles per hour. She's a top NHRA competitor.
The MSD box never should be mounted.
She's a girly girl who had a somewhat unusual tomboy childhood.
My Barbies had 57 Chevys and, you know, that type of thing. And she drove Ken didn't drive her. You know, it was that type of environment at our house. We don't need needle nose pliers.
For as long as she can remember, Nicole helped her father at his auto shop.
I grew up around the shop. I was able to wrench on things when I was 7, 8 years old. I was able to put drive shafts in, that type of stuff. So, you know, it was a bonding experience really for me and my dad, and it turned into being a passion of mine. My dad was a famed street racer.
Jack Davis taught his little girl everything he knew about cars.
My dad was a engine builder and also a muscle car restoration builder.
And it seems Nicole was born with a heart that pumps high-octane fuel through her veins.
She's real fine, my 409.
At 2 years old, my dad took me down the track for my very first time. He had an SS 409 Impala. He took it down and had me in the back baby seat. And he said, as soon as I got down around, you know, I started screaming. And he thought, oh my gosh, I've terrified this girl. So he pulls back around to the pits, and I'm screaming, no, Daddy, I want to go again, 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 again.
Nicole was learning to drive fast cars when other kids her age were learning to ride bikes.
When I first got behind the wheel of a car, I was 6 years old. And it was a Porsche that was the first car that I got behind the wheel of, and I was learning how to drive a stick. I wouldn't change my childhood for the world. Oh, it's from the hose.
Yeah.
Nicole's knowledge of cars and mechanics paid off. She built her first drag racing engine, and it was record-breaking.
I built my first one, which was a 565 1100 horsepower motor, which single carbureted, and back when I built it in 2008, it was considered the highest horsepower single carbureted engine around. It's holding the fluid.
Nicole took over her dad's auto shop after he passed away in 2005.
I've built the shop to, you know, an 8,000 square foot facility. I think my dad would be quite proud of where Cole Muscle Cars is today.
Nicole's dad would also be proud of her drag racing success. She's got her sights on NASCAR.
It's just a testing thing for us. I can say that we've adapted quite well, and I think that we will be very successful when we decide to debut this year in NASCAR.
She's been testing on the oval track and plans to be racing in a NASCAR KNN Series event later this year. And she's hoping a whole new range of sponsors will get into the game.
It would be nice to see some new sponsors come in, like cosmetic product lines. That's the beauty of being a woman in the industry, is that we can go from oil of Olay to oil. So.
I'm Leila Feinstein, KTLA 5 News.
And joining us now is professional drag racer Nicole Lyons. Nicole, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So you plan to debut in NASCAR in the fall. Is that going to happen?
You know, we are doing everything in our power to make that happen, and I don't want to jinx myself and say, you know, it's a guaranteed anything, but I can definitely tell you we are on our way, and I know it's going to be a great thing when we decide to debut.
That is so exciting. So you learned to drive when you were 6 years old. That's crazy. Tell us about that.
I don't recommend it, but my parents kind of knew that I was going to be a race car driver. My dad was a race car driver, and I used to drive home when I was 6 years old from my elementary school, and my dad would put like wooden blocks on my feet and strap them up with duct tape, and we'd get home, and you know, a dually truck at that. But he knew from a young age that I was going to definitely be a race car driver.
Wow. And tell us about the first time you got pulled over.
Well, the first time we got pulled over, I was driving home from elementary school, and
driving home from elementary school, okay.
This officer happened to see me, and it wasn't that I was doing anything, you know, crazy in the car, other than being a 6-year-old,
right.
6-year-old driving. That's a little crazy. But he pulled us over because he happened to pull up and saw me driving, and was like, oh my gosh, there's no way. So he pulled me over and he said, you know, what's going on here? My dad played ill, you know, I'm sick. My daughter really knows how to drive. You know, we only have one exit to go to our house. he just walked away scratching his head and said, just go, I don't ever want to see you guys on the road again.
Wow, so he got you off the hook.
We got off the hook that time, and we never, you know, did that anymore, you know, doing that type of driving stuff. You know, now we try to keep everything safe and promote it out of the track. So.
Okay, and what about your friends at that age? They must have thought that was pretty cool.
They did. Sometimes, you know, it's hard when you're younger and you're into something like, you know, racing, which consumes your weekends, and they didn't quite understand why I wasn't available for all the birthday parties and, you know, little things like that. But they understand now quite well why it was that I was so intense at that age.
Explain to us what it's like. I mean, that feeling to be in a car and going 250 miles an hour. I mean, I can't imagine what that must feel like. I would be way too scared. So I guess what's different about you than me?
I think it's, you know, I think I grew up in it, so I think that's a definitely more natural thing for me to progress to. But it's a stress reliever for me. Like, I get in and I just let everything that's ever, you know, happened during the day, I let it loose on that track. And it's like, it's the best feeling in the world. And, you know, it's hard to, in today's day and age, to actually be able to do something that you love every week and get paid for it.
That is the, I mean, the new American dream, I would say, to do something that you love and actually get paid for it. So you and your dad, obviously, we saw in the story there that you guys had a really special relationship. He passed away. Did he ever get to see you race?
My dad did get to see me race, and it was more on like a testing thing. When we entered into the NHRA, we didn't do it until a week after his funeral was our season opener. So he never actually got to see me, but then again, he really is watching me and gets to see me all the time if I kind of think that way about it. So we have his name on my car, and he rides with us every time down the track. So we are still blessed, and I still feel like he's here.
Wow. And what about your mom? How does she feel about you racing?
Oh, she loves it.
She does.
I mean, a lot of people don't know that my mom is just as crazy about racing as my dad was, and she has, you know, the 409, and she shifts gears, and she's got a 4-speed, you know, 425 horsepower car on the street. So
has she ever raced?
She raced my dad a few times and actually won.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
So she's pretty good herself.
Nice. It's in the genes. Talk a little bit about what it's like to be a woman in such a man's world. You know, it's got to be pretty interesting.
It is. You know, you hear it all as a woman in a man's world, and you just kind of have to let things, you know, rub off, you know, and don't take anything to heart, because, you know, really, truly, they want you there.
They do?
I think so.
Okay.
I think they like seeing me, you know. I think I'm a ray of sunshine out there, you know, amongst all that testosterone. I think I'm needed.
Yeah.
So, but, you know.
Any difficulties, though? Anybody give you a hard time?
I mean, of course. I mean, I think any woman in today's professions that are, you know, that are doing things, that are pioneering, you're going to have some obstacles. You're going to hear a bunch of people tell you no. And it's about turning those no's around into something positive and making, you know, making them respect you. So I show out on the track. I make them respect me. I know my stuff. I'm knowledgeable. They can't take that from me. And I think that's how we close it out at the end of the day.
Nice. And what do you see for the future? I mean, we saw that glamorous picture of you. That was so hot. I loved it. I mean, in terms of, you were talking about oil of Olay, connected to oil. What do you see? You know, if you get into NASCAR, and where do you see it going from there?
I see it as just breaking barriers. And like I said, I mean, having companies on board like Oil of Olay, oil companies, you know, Matte Cosmetics. I mean, I could see so many different things that, you know, haven't been done before, and I'm like, let's do it. Why not? You know, it's in today's age, we should be doing it. We should think outside the box. So
absolutely. Well, it's so great to meet you, and I look forward to watching your career in the future. I'm so excited for you.
We're gonna get you out.
I think this is going to finally get me interested in NASCAR.
There we go. I'm get you in a car.
All right. Oh my gosh.
Must.
Totally. Deal.
Okay.
Deal. Really?
Deal.
Really?
Let's do it.
You swear? Okay.
It won't be the 3,500 horsepower one. We'll start you a little.
We'll start me slow. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. All right. For more information on Nicole, you can check out her website, NicoleLyonsRacing.com.